Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Film Snobbery Live-ish. My name is Nic Baisley. I am the film snob, and I am here tonight. I'm here with my co-host, director Jerry Cavallero, and I'm also here to talk about. We've got a great show for everyone. We're going to talk about my recent interview on Film Courage. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. We're going to talk about our Indiegogo project of the week, Dreams of Dying, and we're also going to talk. We've got a great interview for you today, director Elizabeth Lucas, director of Clear Blue Tuesday, a movie that's coming out in the New York City Quad Cinemas this Friday. It'll be running for 2 weeks. It's an independent musical, and we have the director, Elizabeth Lucas, with us right now, and what we're going to do first, though, is we're going to show you the trailer for Clear Blue Tuesday, and when we get back, we'll have a nice little chat. So see you in a minute or two.
I can't ever forget.
I don't know what else to do. No, I feel like something just switched off in you.
Maybe it just came back on.
Good things happen to young men who work their hardest.
I made my career, my life, and I lost my son.
I took a year off to write about something important.
I kissed a boy.
I think people are worried.
You ever stop and wonder what the hell we're doing this for?
All right, everyone, that was the trailer for Clear Blue Tuesday, and I have with me tonight the director of Clear Blue Tuesday, Elizabeth Lucas. I want to welcome her right now. Welcome to the show, Elizabeth. Thank you for hanging in there with us, and thank you for being on.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Jerry, for having me on. Really glad to be here.
I'm really glad to have you on here. I was really excited to talk about this. We have a mutual acquaintance in the person who's helping you with this particular film, and she said, oh, you would really like this. I think you should check it out. And I am a big fan of musicals in general, and so I was really excited to see another independent musical in New York that's getting a great premiere this week at the Quad Cinemas. So tell us a little bit, how did you get involved with Clear Blue Tuesday?
Well, Clear Blue Tuesday came out of my own little personal catastrophe. I was biking in New York City one day and got hit by a cab, and had a few months to sit around at home, nursing my broken bones and saying, is this really what I want to be doing? And what are my resources and what do I really want? The thing I really wanted to do was make a movie musical. And the thing I really wanted to talk about was catastrophe as a catalyst for change in our lives, and certainly, living in New York at 9/11, I certainly that was a huge catalyst for change in my life, and living in New York also, I just had access to an amazing group of actor, singer, songwriters, and so I came up with this idea that I was going to cast 11 actor, singer, songwriters, and we started from scratch. We developed the script from improvisation and discussion and exercises, and eventually they developed fictional characters and fictional narrative, and then they wrote the songs that they sing. So it's a very unusual musical. It's not one single musical voice. It's 11 different musical voices of diverse singer-songwriters.
And where did you actually find your cast?
Well, my casting director, Michael Casara, brought in about 200 actor, singer, songwriters, and it was kind of an intense audition process. We sat down for like 20 minutes with each of these people, and they played me their songs. We talked about why they wrote them and when, what they write about. And but we also talked, about their New York experiences, how they felt about the city, how they, what their relationship with that was, and also just about other things that interest them. Because, if you want to do an improvisational musical like this, you need people with an emotional and intellectual life, not just people who need to talk about acting and singing and songwriting all the time.
So was the script development kind of like sitting in a writer's room at like a Saturday Night Live type of thing, and you're kind of are you kind of just bouncing back and forth ideas on different on each individual's different scenes, or was it more of a this is your story arc, so and the character because you are the character, so develop it that way, or what was kind of the criteria? Did you set any boundaries for the actors?
Sure. I was very reactive to what they brought in, so I was there to guide and to edit in a lot of ways, and so for example, when it was time to start exploring specific characters, I asked them to bring in 2 characters each, and we'd mix and match their characters and have them play against each other, and some scenes would totally fizzle and some scenes would spark, and those would become part of the movie, and we'd develop those relationships that really seemed to have some energy to them. So it wasn't really a writer's room so much. Actors are when they're in that mode, tend to be pretty visceral and do really well on their feet and with each other. It was more of on our feet the whole time, and with me guiding them towards that narrative.
Okay, and now, so you had decided to kind of set this piece around the events of 9/11. We're coming up on the, is this the let's see, 2001, 2000, so this is what, the 9th anniversary yeah. Being in New York and making a movie about New York, has New York changed? Is it still changed to you from now as it was then?
Absolutely. It was. I think that was a turning point for a lot of folks, and I want to be clear. When we made this movie, we wanted to be sure that 9/11 was a catalyst, but it's not what the movie is about. And I think that scares a lot of people, to hear 9/11 and musical and say, oh my God, what a terrible idea. It's not that at all. It's really about how we as people who are not the firefighters and the widows and the politicians adjust to this new reality. And so it was a very personal exploration in that way. And so we talked a lot about the city and the things that have changed, and it's definitely changed. I remember my very first New Year's in New York City, and I went down to see the ball drop. And after the ball dropped, I just sat in Times Square until like 3 in the morning watching them clean up. And you can't even do that anymore. They just scoot you right out of there the moment it's over. I mean, there's so much more control over your movement.
Yeah, I did that one year as well. I did the ball drop thing. It was in 2001.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. There is a huge difference now.
Yeah.
So, did you film everything in New York?
Yeah, we had the most amazing sort of community and donations around this. So we ended up shooting not just in like our friends' apartments, which were beautiful, but also at 7 World Trade Center. They gave us the entire raw 52nd floor for a night for free. We shot at Rockefeller Center for free. We shot at the Ritz-Carlton. Because of what we were doing and the way we were doing it, and my sort of attitude of welcoming all comers, we had some just incredible donations of locations, and I feel like we really tried to find a sort of a private New York.
Now, this isn't your first movie. Did you find there to be a lot of difference between making this movie as opposed to your first?
Absolutely. The first one was a horror movie, and it's much more of a traditional narrative. It was my first time on a feature film set, and I learned a ton, and it was an incredibly valuable experience. I shot Clear Blue Tuesday 2 months later. These were actually kind of all shot at the same time. All 3 of these movies were created at the same time. And in some ways they have some interconnecting themes, but they couldn't be more difficult genre-wise.
And so now you were mentioning how you didn't want to be pigeonholed into that kind of post 9/11 almost kind of tragedy movie, as being part of the pitch. Now I was checking. I do a little research. When you were first approaching a producer for this, he was a television producer who's worked in various creative outlets, and you had to pitch him a couple of times on the concept. And I guess I know that really wasn't a question, but it was more filler. But the question is what's it like to have to go through that process to acquire a producer or acquire financing for a movie like this?
Yeah, I did it differently with the different movies. With this one, I had worked for this gentleman before. I directed some stage musicals in Atlantic City, and he was the executive producer of those. And so he had a chance to see my work. We had that relationship, and he respected what I did. And when you're raising money at this level, I mean, this was a very, very low budget movie. When you're raising money at this level, it really is entirely about those relationships. So I was grateful to him. I mean, he made me rewrite my business plan 8 times, but it's to sign on to something that is just a business plan where there's not a word of script is just so brave and so adventurous, and I am deeply, deeply in debt to his trust and to his willingness to do this.
And someone did point it out in the audience, but I guess I'll say it here as well. Congratulations on your New York Times piece.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a big deal. You're getting a lot of great press for this. You're opening up theatrically. My question is, when you first started making films, you started off with your horror film. Now you're, in a completely different place. Was doing this much harder, and are you seeing a lot more reward for it?
Oh, we're still in the hard part. That New York Times interview today it's fascinating, because he kind of starts the article with the absolute worst possible things to say, and so I suppose there's nothing bad about publicity of any kind, but what's getting picked up is September 11th, the musical, over and over again. And so you start looking at the comment boards, and they're all 100% these negative, nasty sort of comments. It's like, but that's not my movie.
Right.
And he goes on to say that in the article, that it's not actually that. But that's several paragraphs later. So it's a mixed blessing. I mean, it's a huge blessing. Who are we kidding? Very grateful, and it's getting the word out there in a big way. And I just hope that there are going to be folks who see through this sort of the hater community that's going to dismiss this based on a log line that isn't actually my movie.
I know you love it. I got to audition a couple of drummers, and then after that, I'm free.
That would be great.
Maybe we'll meet up a little bit later.
Okay.
This is what I'm doing, man. This is what I'm about.
Now, my question, another question for you is, why a musical versus a straight-out narrative? Like, there are a lot of other movies out there that deal with, issues in New York, or even just kind of, it's almost a genre. New York movies are almost a genre in that case. I mean, you look at almost anything that Woody Allen's ever done. Our good friend of the show, Gary King's New York Lately, obviously a New York movie. What kind of motivated you to say, you know what, I'm going musical?
Well, there are 2 answers to that question. The superficial answer is I love musicals. It's kind of what I do. I'm one of the founding producers of the New York Musical Theater Festival. I've been doing new musicals on stage for a gazillion years and developing new musicals. And so I'm not coming into this without that skill set. That's where I come from. So for me, it's more natural. For me, doing a musical is easier than doing a straight whatever. and more interesting for me personally. But the deeper answer to that is I find that music, when you take away the word musical, which people associate with musical comedy, which isn't the entire genre really, music to me is a language. It's not the genre. It's a way of communicating. It's like saying Shakespeare is a genre. No, he's not. He wrote horrors, he wrote histories, he wrote romances, he wrote comedies. Those are the genres, and you know, his iambic pentameter was the language. So musicals to me are the language, and for me, music allows you to express an emotion that's much more personal and has so many more layers to it. So for a movie like this, where we're dealing with just layers and how complicated this is. I mean, music seemed absolutely right, and so it came into play in so many ways, especially in how we shaped the characters. Because I needed these songwriters to be able to write very personal songs. I needed their characters to have emotional echoes in their lives. You know, writing a song is a personal thing. And so I kind of see a bit of a disconnect between people who say, oh, musicals, they're horrible, music can't express anything deep, and then who will go, you know, listen to a band in a club and be very moved. Like, well, why are those two separate things? I don't think they are. And this movie is, for me, a way of wedding those two things.
No, and I agree with that, and I mean, I think that musicals can take on, music as a language is absolutely, I agree with you 100% on that. I think musicals as a genre, you know, is just an easy way to pigeonhole.
It's a good shorthand.
It really is. I mean, because you look at even a lot of the musicals that are out there, I mean, you guys didn't hear us, we were offline when Ryan and I were talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. They had a musical episode. But then you also...
Yeah.
Yeah, huge. And we've had Amber Benson on a couple of times talking about that. And then you have, I mean, I personally, I'm a huge fan of Cannibal the musical. You know,
I've seen it.
Parker and Stone, yeah, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, and then you know, even Poultrygeist, Troma's Poultrygeist is a musical. I mean, there's, you know, and so you have a kind of comedic horror, you've got a straight comedy, you've got, you know, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is a drama or a dramedy, depending on how you want to really pigeonhole that, and you know, and then you have your more traditional Moulin Rouges and you know, stuff like that. So now I guess that was more of a commentary. The question I'm getting at, though, is you also acted in Clear Blue Tuesday as well a little bit, didn't you?
No, not really. I mean, I have a couple very minor cameos. I don't say anything.
Oh, okay. So you were the silent Bob of your own movie.
Yes.
And
so that's the challenge. If you can spot my 3 cameos, I'll send somebody a DVD or something.
Oh, that's a challenge. That's a challenge. So how did you go about getting involved with the Quad Cinema to get your movie shown there?
Well, you know, we felt very strongly that this movie needed to open in New York City. It's a very New York movie, and we wanted to do it in September. And so we looked around at, you know, four-walling a theater, and the Quad has this pretty amazing four-wall program. Not only was it the least expensive program we were able to find in the city, but they also have all sorts of other support for the filmmaker who goes there. And you can go to their website for that, Quad Cinema four-wall, something like that. But it'll list out exactly what they do for you, and it's really quite a lot.
Now, we have a couple questions from the audience, believe it or not. One's a question, one's a comment. The vocabulariist says, are the songs rhythmic and with catchy choruses? Is it all singing, or are there instruments? So is it a cappella, or is it instrumental? How is that? How are they mostly set up?
Sure. It's a very diverse set of songs. You know, everything from the prologue, which is a harp solo with a little bit of instrumentation, to a bit of a hard rock number, to there's a few piano-based people. I mean, it's just incredibly diverse. And yes, so there's a little tiny bit of singing and dancing of the sort of you know, dance club feel to it. But there's also a lot of really personal singer-songwriter or guitar-based stuff as well.
Okay. And the follow-up comment by the same person, the vocabulariist from moviecynics.com, asks, but making a musical is a surefire way to limit who you want to see the movie. Do you feel that Clear Blue Tuesday appeals to all audiences, or is it just people who are fans of musicals, or just people who are looking to see a New York movie, or do you feel that this is something that can have a very broad audience?
Yeah, we're reaching as much of an audience as we can. Ultimately, no movie is for everybody, and I get that. And there are plenty of people who are never going to understand this movie, and I get that too. But I love, there's a gentleman who I do not know, never met, who posted a review on our Facebook page that I just love, because he goes on and he just goes on and on about how he was determined to hate the movie. And then the last line is, it's simply an outstanding film that should be seen by all. It's like, you have to. I'm finding it very difficult to break through some of the people who are determined to hate this movie. But when people do let it be the language that it is and accept exactly the movie as it's meant to be, it can be an incredibly moving experience. So we have a perception challenge, a marketing challenge. To get through to a larger audience. And
I admire and I really look up to people who can soldier on through that, because it can be very demoralizing to be like, it doesn't seem to be taking off. But I feel kind of the same way you might as well, which is every movie has an audience somewhere. You just might have to look a little harder to find yours, or maybe it's a matter of taking people who wouldn't ordinarily see your movie and converting them. And I admire the persistence of that. And I think that's good. I like that. You can take, as a critic, I like that you can take criticism, because I will be reviewing Clear Blue Tuesday shortly. What?
That's the thing. Is I do not, whether you like the movie or you hate the movie, or feel passionately about aspects of it or not about others, so long as it's respectful. I mean, the thing is, making a movie is just, it's a huge endeavor, and nobody does it casually, not really. So this particular movie, we've certainly got, our 3 negative reviews have been so focused on the concept and being anti the concept that they really had nothing productive to say as a genuine criticism of what I made, as opposed to, we got this amazing review from Matthew Murray over at Broadway Stars, and he didn't like everything, and that's okay. And some things he didn't like, some other people, it's their favorite thing. That's okay, I don't mind that, but he really got it. And you could tell he watched the movie more than once, which was so flattering and so wonderful. And for me, it's like, if I read a review and it's like they really watched it and considered it, I am just thrilled.
Oh, all right. And we did actually have a comment from Mojave44 as well, a question that actually asked, how have early audiences been? Like, people who have responded to this movie, how has the response been? Has it been a mixed bag, or do you find, like you kind of just said, that some people tend to focus just on the 9/11 aspect, or have you found that more general audiences have been receptive?
Yeah, it really varies, and I mean, ultimately, this movie was made for that 10% of people who see it and tell me they cried for 3 hours after. And that's okay. I love those 10%, but I mean, the thing is, it's kind of interesting. I think a lot about, and as a sort of studier of people, I think a lot about how people think and kind of observe it. And there's really a very interesting dividing line between people who understand music and people who don't. And if you're kind of on that other side of that line, I don't think this film will ever be for you. But the people who are on the music side of that line can range in reactions anywhere from at least respecting it and enjoying some of the lighter things about it, to really being extremely moved by it.
No, and I completely agree with that entire statement. I think that yeah, I think that managing your audiences, you can only go so far, and once the movie's out there, it's kind of out of your your ability to manage anyway, and you just have to get those people who are gonna glom onto it and make them your audience, and the other people who just don't get it, they just don't get it. And like you said before, not every movie's for everybody.
Absolutely.
So no, that's really good. Now what do you already have something lined up that you're working on after Clear Blue Tuesday?
Yeah, I've got two projects that I'm working on right now. One is another movie musical, although this one is a musical comedy, and it is in 3D. And
No kidding.
It's really fun. It's just so much fun. It's this sort of down on his luck actor guy who hates musicals and wakes up in a musical one day, and so wakes up in this 3D, really over the top, crazy musical. It's really fun. So we're working on getting that off the ground, and I'm also I don't know that your audience would know the theater folk necessarily, but Adam Gettle, who won the Tony Award for Light of the Piazza, has a song cycle that he wrote in 1998 that hasn't been done in New York since then. And he gave me free rein to write a narrative to it. So I've written a narrative, and we're working on getting that up on stage, hopefully very soon.
Well, congratulations on that. Do you find it difficult or different to be, to switch from working on the stage to working on a behind the camera filming?
Personally, no. I know a lot of people do, and it's a very different way of visualizing, certainly. But for me, that part of it has never been an issue, and I kind of think both sides really inform the other. As a director who's worked extensively on stage, collaboration is, my language. Collaboration is a given, and so I work really well with writers, for example. I mean, I was shocked to move into film and hear people say, "Oh no, we don't like writers on the set." I'm like, I love my writers. Are you kidding?
I love my writers too. Wait a minute, I have none. No, actually, the writers for our site, FilmSnobbery.com, I do love because they work for free. No, also because they write really good stuff.
Yeah.
I will say I want to thank you for coming on the show tonight and for dealing with our various technical difficulties. For those of you watching this now, I'm going to break the fourth wall on you, and I'm just going to say you're watching a live show that was pre-taped, which somehow we were able to still capture an audience. So I got to throw a shout out to our audience that stuck around and fielded questions to a black box that they can't see. I want to say thank you to the Vocabularies and Bobby Bless, both from MovieCynics.com, Mojave44, yourself, obviously, who was actually in the chat room chatting as well, and of course my great co-host, Jerry Cavallero, who's there moderating and taking questions for everyone. I would thank my director, but he's sitting there watching the monitor, making sure that even the recorded version doesn't crash. So I want to thank you for bearing with us, and we'll for those of you out there who are watching this, you're just watching a streamed version later, and this will eventually this week, probably in the next day or so, be available on both iTunes, the Zune Marketplace, Blip TV, VodPod, every place you could possibly imagine you could get this video. It will be there. So, and congratulations again on the New York Times article. Congratulations again on Clear Blue Tuesday opening at the Quad Cinemas this Friday. If you don't catch it Friday, no biggie. They're there for 2 whole weeks. So check them out. They've got, I like musicals. If you like musicals, you'll definitely like Clear Blue Tuesday. So it's got, even the screener I have with the press kit and everything looks really good. And I'm really looking forward to seeing more of what our good friend here, Elizabeth Lucas, has in store for us with her 3D crazy madcap comedy musical. So I thank you for coming on tonight, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Nick.
You have yourself a great night.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye. So that was Elizabeth Lucas, everyone, of Clear Blue Tuesday, and what we're going to do now is we're going to show you a little promo for Final Draft, and when we come back, we're going to talk about our Indiegogo project of the week, Dreams of Dying. So stick around. We'll be right back. Version 8 is the industry standard for screenwriting software, with ease of use and time-saving features like Final Draft's Scene View, index cards, and Scene Properties Inspector. You can see why Final Draft users include Academy Award winners like Oliver Stone, Tom Hanks, J.J. Abrams, and James Cameron. Final Draft is now even more extensible with its new XML-based file format that can be used to import your script into many other programs. Check out Final Draft 8 now for free over at www.finaldraft.com. And we're back, everyone. I want to now kind of segue out of our interview portion of the show. I want to now talk about our Indiegogo project of the week. You can always check it out over at Indiegogo.com. It's Dreams of Dying, directed by Natalie Avatel. I know I'm going to butcher her name, and I feel really bad about that. Natalie Avatel. No, I had it right. Okay, cool. Produced by Natalie Avatel, who's also in it, and written and directed also by Nick McCallum, which he sounds really familiar. But the project is by Natalie Avatel. You can also check out their Facebook page. They have a Facebook page on there as well. You can check that out. They're trying to raise, it's a lofty goal, but I think they can do it, $10,000. They've already raised $1,600, and they've got 68 days left. So they've got 2 months, a little over 2 months. They got 6 months. No, 2 months. 2 months, yeah, no, I don't do math. They've got a little bit of time, quite a bit of time now to reach their $10,000 goal. If you haven't already checked out their trailer, they've got a little clip online over on YouTube. Also, you can go to indiegogo.com/dreams-of-dying. And you can see their stuff there. Remember to tweet it out, put it on your Facebook profile, dig it the whole 9 yards. And of course, best of all, donate to it. But if you can't afford to donate, at least get behind it by, tweeting it out and sharing it with your friends. The synopsis is read as: a famous horror film actress, Alex Seidel, returns to her hometown of Los Angeles to shoot a vampire film. Psychologically fragile and continually haunted by dark dreams that seemingly become true, Alex fights to keep her sanity as she balances the terrifying world of the film and the troubled world of her own mind. This film is in the vein of horror classics like Rosemary's Baby, The Shining, Vertigo, and The Vanishing. So all of that I like. Like every movie she named there, I'm down with. So I totally will. That's why I got behind this particular project for this week. So again, our Indiegogo project of the week, Dreams of Dying. Check it out, indiegogo.com/dreams-of-dying. And that's all she wrote about that. So now I want to talk. I've got a couple of things I want to talk about. And first one, I want to thank David Brandon and Karen Worden of Film Courage for having me on live on their show that didn't crash this past Sunday. They interviewed me, asked me a whole bunch of great questions. I actually just replayed it last night on my phone while I was just kind of relaxing because I wanted to see if I really sounded like a pretentious douchebag, and I didn't. You didn't even listen. You totally didn't, did you? No? Yeah. Jerry listened. Jerry was on with me the whole time.
Well, I was making money.
I was even talking to you in the chat. Well, not chat, on AIM.
They even have a... I apologize. Unlike Jerry, who...
Yeah, I don't have a life.
Yeah, I was working my job so I could fund my own web series. It's called Nerfed. I don't know if anyone around here has ever...
What was that? Film Courage? What?
It's called Piece of Crap Web Series, not as good as Film Courage.
You got a point there.
That's true.
But few things are. Now, that being said, they do have Film Courage. LATalkRadio.com does have an app. I don't know if it's... I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to the audience. I'm fucking talking to you. Look at me when I'm talking to you. Hi.
You sloppy bitch.
Look at me, you sloppy... No, they have an app. So you should definitely check that out. Now, and that's the whole LA Talk Radio... thing has an app. It's not just Film Courage. You can get all of their shows. So you should check that out. I don't know if it's on Android. I know it's on iPhone.
I find out it's on iPhone. I don't really give a shit.
I know you don't, but still, I figured that out. But I want to thank, again, David Brandon and Karen Warner. They asked me some great questions, and I was really... the questions were... Some of them were a little deeper than I expected. Some of them were a little more out there than I expected. And yeah, but they treated me really well, and I was very happy that the time went by way too quick. Like I was like, oh, I could easily field like 6 more questions, which is weird because I generally don't like talking about myself, and as much as like I'm used to doing the interviewing. You know what I mean? Like I'm used to being
Same way. I don't like talking about myself either.
Hold on. I call bullshit. All Jerry ever does is talk about his movie, himself, his life.
I come home
I
from
didn't
work.
have enough sarcasm in my voice.
I come home from work, and I know I'm picking on Jerry on his birthday, and I feel so horrible, but I come home from work. As soon as Jerry notices that I've come on my laptop or something like that, I get, yo. So I wrote another 50-page thing. I want to tell you about this whole...
Hold on. It's okay, because when people see this, it will not be Jerry's birthday.
You got to... No, they'll see it tonight. I'm going to try to get it up.
You got
an hour.
47 minutes.
Okay, so when you see this tomorrow, and it was Jerry's birthday, wish him a happy belated birthday, even though all he does is talk about himself, and he'll probably tell you all about it tomorrow anyway. I'm kidding. So...
Thanks for the birthday wishes when no one gave me birthday wishes just so I can get some.
Yes.
And it's funny.
No, I'm not that pathetic.
Yes, you are. But
although I did find it funny that on Facebook,
it didn't fit at all, did it?
Years gave me the thank you, the happy birthdays and all that crap.
Well, I said happy birthday at 12:06 last night, so I really think that yeah.
I forgot until I got here.
Because I told you, I called you.
Exactly.
I called you until I said, be nice to Jerry tonight because it's his birthday. And I'm like, fuck that guy. But Jerry, you and I will talk a little bit more in a minute. There is something else I wanted to talk about tonight. You guys have heard me go off, and actually I even talked about it on Film Courage on Sunday, the importance of having a good press kit. I know you didn't listen, but I'm going to tell the people out there the importance of having a good press kit. Now, one of the cool things about having Elizabeth on tonight was that when I received her movie, which, by the way, this isn't even the DVD. This is labeled pre-release screener, but you know what? It's a nice little paper type of thing going on here. I got artwork. I got some stuff on the back. I got cast and crew stats and stuff like that. This is a DVD. Like, even if all this is missing is a freaking barcode, to be honest with you, and this could be retail ready. It's set up really nice, but nice little screener, not in like a freaking paper sleeve, which, you know, is forgivable. I mean, I get those all the time, but like this looks like she, you know, put some effort into it, you know, and you know what, does that matter to me? Sometimes, because I do like to display my DVDs. Like, I have them, they're spine out and all that kind of stuff, but still, I like to have something I can easily pick out. I don't want to flip through 50 freaking envelopes to see DVDs to watch something.
It's nice for the reviewer. You don't feel like you're a burden.
Yeah.
You feel like, you know, yeah, it's a free copy, but you feel like they gave you something that you can be proud about, not that you're like in a fucking drawer.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to put this in an envelope and then throw it away. I've
got a ton of screeners from the festivals I've gone to, and most of them are sitting in a drawer because they look like they came in a stuck like Chuck packaging.
I know, right? I mean, Jesus. Now, that being said, but I want to talk about Clear Blue Tuesday for a second, because Clear Blue Tuesday did also send a press kit. Press kit, simple, honestly, is a very simple, just blue folder, but it matches. Also has their sticker of their poster on the front, in case you guys can't see it. And once you open it up, I have the postcard of the movie, opening September 3rd, Quad Cinema. Tells you a little bit about where you can go see it. Not just like, hey, here's my movie. A little synopsis on there, too. So there's that. There's a business card in here. I'm not going to show you that because it has contact information on it, and it's contact info for a distributor. And I'm bad, but I'm not that bad. A nice little handwritten note inside as well, written on a Clear Blue Tuesday business card, which is a different business card. And then the meat of this particular press kit is it's one huge stapled thing of pages, but these pages, again, branding. This is all branding. Everything from this, see how everything matches, and it's beautiful and nice and clear to look at. It's Clear Blue Tuesday, clearly. You know, you open it up, I get my synopsis. It's got some little quotes and stuff from the movie. Good stuff there. It tells me who played what. Hey, Cassandra Kubinski. I have friends who know her. I don't know her, but Maria says she knows you. I would like to get to know you because you seem nice. Call me. Also, production notes about how the project was conceived, and then that goes on for a little bit. And then the next section, the creation of the actual film, goes on for a couple pages. I mean, we're talking, I mean, this is probably all total, probably about 20, 30 pages. I mean, it's a lot of information. But let me tell you something. As a reviewer and as someone who does a show like this where I interview people, the more information you give me, the better article and more informed article I can write and the better interview I can give. Because I can come up with questions like, oh, I noticed that you had something written in the New York Times today, so I could reference that article. But even this, if I were to go back to, there's a section in here, and I'll actually, I think I know exactly where it is because I was looking at it. Let's see, casting. Let's see the creation. Yeah, right here. Here we go. Yeah. Al Parinello, who is best known for his achievements in rock radio and cable television, where he was involved in the creation of such networks as Nickelodeon and the Movie Channel. Parinello had a chance to get to know Lucas's work in Atlantic City, where she directed for his Broadway On the Boardwalk series at the Trump Plaza. And this is the guy who I referred to in the interview, that he was, someone who worked in various media outlets, that, who wasn't too keen on the idea initially, but you repitched him a couple of times, and, whatever. Where do you think I got that question from? I got it from your press kit. So that being said, you want to be interviewed, you want to be reviewed, you want all these, you want the media attention that, and you want that attention to skew the way you want it to. Like really, I mean, that guided my question. No, not saying that I'm not going to come up with questions that are, completely off the wall, like, boxers or briefs or whatever the hell, other question I would ask someone. But, you can kind of guide my questions by satisfying my curiosity about various parts of your production. So you see how that was actually viable in this particular show. So I just want to, again, extol the virtues of having a good press kit and a complete press kit. I have contact information on here. If I have questions, I have used that, said contact information. I just want to, again, just put that out there and tell you guys and girls out there, if you're going to do something, do it right. There, I'm done with that. I'm done with this guy. No. So now I do want to talk to Jerry. Jerry's not here, Mrs. Torrance. I want to talk to Jerry because it is his birthday, and I want to say happy birthday to Jerry. Jerry was here on my birthday show, and he, took some time off from hanging out with his family and stuff like that to do the show again tonight. So that means to me that's extra special. I do appreciate it.
I spent so much time in the chat tonight. I did more work than I think I've done the last couple of weeks on the show.
I noticed that, and I'm wondering why you just don't do that all the time. But I didn't know I was going to wait till after the show to mention.
They usually get to watch the show.
Oh, they were not really watching. They're not paying attention or anything. But no, thank you for the hard work you've put in over the course of several, at least the course of since last October. So. Jerry is working on new projects for himself, and good luck to Jerry with that. I really appreciate having Jerry on the show, even though we tease him and I make fun of him.
Is this my birthday or is it my goodbye?
This is your eulogy, Jerry. I'm eulogizing you. Jerry was a man. He was a dragon man. Maybe he was just a dragon. But he was still Trogdor!
Jerry.
Oh, Jerry. Oh.
This show is over.
Yeah, you know the Trogdor reference? Strong bad.
Of course.
Okay, yeah, I knew you'd know.
Oh, real quick. I mean, I know we're talking about Jerry, but fuck that. You heard about the company called Telltale? Or not? Traveler's Tales.
Yeah.
They do all the, they're doing the new Sam & Max and shit like that.
Yes.
They just released a teaser poster that had silhouettes. Tycho from Penny Arcade. The heavy machine gun guy from Team Fortress 2.
Okay.
Someone else, and Strong Bad. And it's looking like it will be the most epic game ever created on the history of man.
It's like, is that the sequel to is that the video game sequel to The Expendables?
I think so. I don't know why I just thought Trogdor, Batman, bad, Strong Bad.
Bad.
Good night, folks.
Good night, folks. Bring down the paper. If I could put that in post, I would, but I have no talent. But again, going back to Jerry, it's his birthday, so we should all say happy birthday to Jerry, because I think he's 22 now. So
12.
12.
Yes.
Oh, that would explain a lot.
Brian's track of 10 years.
Ryan is just wishing you were 12 because he has this thing for boys. Hairy boys. Now, Jerry, thank you for attending the show
That
tonight.
very quiet.
Yeah, it really did. It just kind of like, it just went so.
Killed the mood of the entire show.
I know, right? I mean, thanks for just derailing
We had a
everything.
big episode about musicals and everything.
It was like, we're all happy. Even with like the show crashing, we're like, you know what, we're just going to move past this. And you're like,
we're having a good time, pedophile.
It really does. Pedophiles just really bring down the room, don't they? Like, it's a conversation stopper.
You know, it's weird. I walk into rooms and I feel that feeling. And I feel like it would be like to be a pedophile. I don't know why.
Well, it could have something to do with...
This episode has the original Clerks ending. That's
Something's going to get shot.
I don't know how to end this show, so pedophilia.
All right. Good night, everybody.